Some places on Earth don't want us there. They burn. They break. They fall without warning. And yet, we keep going. Every year, thousands of people travel to stand at the edge of active volcanoes, to hike beneath collapsing ice walls, to climb mountains that have already claimed hundreds of lives. Why? Why do we hike toward erupting craters? Sail into storm-ridden seas? Climb peaks that have already claimed hundreds of lives? Is it thrill, curiosity, or something older? Something wired into us? From the deadliest mountains on Earth, to volcanoes that erupt almost every year, to deserts so harsh NASA tests Mars rovers there. These are not abandoned wastelands. They're bucket list destinations. In this video, we're traveling to the most dangerous natural wonders people still visit. Places where beauty and death stand side by side. And by the end of this journey, you might start asking yourself a different question. Not would I go, but how close would I dare to stand? The Danakil Depression is one of the most extreme places on Earth. Sitting around 125 meters below sea level, temperatures here regularly soar above 45 degrees Celsius, making this alien landscape both harsh and mesmerizing. In 2014, a group of researchers exploring the Dalol hydrothermal area faced sudden bursts of toxic sulfuric gas. Several of them struggled to breathe and barely escaped in time. The ground here is unstable. One wrong step can release scalding toxic fumes. Even those who know the terrain best must tread carefully. This isn't the first time the Danakil has shown its deadly side. Back in the 1970s, an expedition mapping the salt plains was caught off guard when rare rainfall triggered a sudden flash flood. Rapidly moving water swept several researchers into deep fissures, and they were lost before help could arrive. Scientists and adventurers venture into the Danakil Depression, a landscape that isn't just a desert. It's a mosaic of volcanic craters, salt flats, and neon-colored hydrothermal fields, where sulfuric acid bubbles and steam hisses from the ground, making it one of the deadliest natural wonders on the planet. Historical records tell of 18th and 19th century ships being smashed against Skellig Michael's rocks during storms, leaving sailors stranded or swept away by the sea. In the 1820s, a small fishing boat carrying a family tried to reach the island, but a sudden Atlantic storm hit. Waves battered the boat against the jagged cliffs, tossing people into the violent waters. Only a few managed to cling to the rocks long enough to be rescued days later. Locals called it the rock that devours men, a grim reminder of how unforgiving this place can be. Towering nearly 700 feet above the Atlantic, Skellig Michael's sheer cliffs and jagged rocks make it one of Europe's most dangerous coastlines. Even today, Setting foot on the island is no easy task. Violent waves crash relentlessly, and sudden storms can trap anyone on its narrow terraces. Skellig Michael isn't just rocks and history. Thousands of seabirds, from puffins to gannets, claim the cliffs as their home. Their calls fill the air, and watching them soar against the Atlantic waves, diving and gliding with effortless grace, gives a sense of life that has persisted here for centuries. Kilauea, a fiery force that has shaped the island for centuries, sits on Hawaii's Big Island as one of the most active volcanoes on Earth. Its eruptions have been recorded for hundreds of years. The deadliest known eruption occurred in 1790, when a sudden explosive blast claimed hundreds of lives, marking it as the deadliest volcanic disaster in US history. More recently, in 2018, fissures ripped open across the island, sending molten lava through entire neighborhoods. Over 700 homes were destroyed, thousands were forced to evacuate, and the land itself shifted, triggering earthquakes and collapsing roads. Kilauea's danger isn't just lava. Its volcanic gases, including sulfur dioxide, create thick smog known as VOG, which can choke communities and corrode structures. Scientists monitor the volcano constantly, studying its fissures, flows, and eruptions to understand how new land emerges from molten rock. Tourists come to Kilauea despite the danger, eager to witness molten lava flowing into the ocean, sending up clouds of scalding steam and acidic mist. A breathtaking reminder of the volcano's unstoppable power. In 2004, Mount Bromo showed its true power. Without warning, it erupted, hurling rocks and ash into the air. 2 people standing near the rim were killed instantly. A reminder that this volcano is not just a scenic backdrop, but a living, dangerous force. Bromo sits inside the vast Tenga caldera, surrounded by a barren sea of sand. Over the years, it has erupted again and again. In 2010, it blanketed nearby farmland in ash, destroying crops. While in 2016, explosions sent plumes 5 kilometers into the air, shaking the ground and coating everything in a layer of volcanic dust. Scientists continue to monitor the mountain closely, knowing that another eruption could come at any time. Visitors come to witness Bromo's smoking crater, while exploring the vast sea of sand surrounding it. Many ride horses across this barren, ash-covered landscape, weaving through dunes and ridges to reach the best viewpoints. In March 2021, after lying silent for more than 6,000 years, the ground in southwest Iceland tore open. What followed was one of the most spectacular volcanic events in modern times. The birth of the Fagradalsfjall eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula. Since then, Fagradalsfjall erupted again in 2022, 2023, and 2024, each time reshaping the landscape a little more. Fagradalsfjall sits right where the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates slowly pull apart for centuries. Pressure built up beneath the surface, hidden from sight. until it finally snapped. When it did, molten lava poured out, carving glowing rivers through the valleys. While fountains of fire shot hundreds of feet into the sky. Now, this eruption wasn't explosive, like some that wipe out everything in their path. Scientists call it an effusive eruption, which means the lava flows steadily. But don't be fooled. Steady doesn't mean safe. Toxic gases hung in the air, and new fissures could open at any moment. People visiting had to be careful, and emergency crews often had to rush in to make sure no one got too close. Even a calm-looking lava flow carries real danger. And yet, people couldn't stay away. Tens of thousands made the trek, hiking for hours, just to get close enough to feel the heat of the molten lava on their skin, and hear it crack and splinter, like the earth itself was breaking apart. Standing there, they weren't just watching a volcano erupt. They were witnessing the planet creating new land before their eyes. A raw, breathtaking mix of destruction and creation that left everyone humbled and in awe. Socotra Island is a wild, untamed world. One of the most haunting sights here is the rusting hull of an old cargo ship. In 2019, a storm drove it ashore, leaving it stranded forever against the relentless waves. Over time, it has corroded, leaking oil and slowly breaking apart. One of the most intriguing secrets in Socotra Island is a cave carved into limestone over centuries. In the 19th century, traders navigating the Arabian Sea often found themselves stranded during sudden cyclones, hiding in these caves for days beyond the caves. The island is home to the legendary dragon's blood trees, dominate the landscape with their twisted, umbrella-like branches and crimson sap. These trees have survived cyclones, droughts, and fierce winds for centuries. In 2015, storms destroyed nearly a third of the island's population of these iconic trees. Yet new growth continues to emerge, showing the resilience of life, even under extreme conditions. Even in Socotra's seemingly calm waters, dolphins leap gracefully along the coast, a stunning display of nature's beauty. Yet danger is never far. In July 2025, more than 80 dolphins washed ashore near Calancia. While the cause remains uncertain, but the incident highlights the fragile balance of this isolated ecosystem. Socotra is a world apart, a place where travelers come seeking breathtaking beauty and hidden dangers that lurk around every corner. In the summer of 1865, the world watched as Edward Whymper and his team became the first to conquer the Matterhorn. Yet their victory was tragically short-lived. On their way down, a rope snapped, and 4 climbers plunged thousands of feet to their deaths. Their bodies later recovered on the glacier below. The tragedy shocked Europe, and from that day on, the Matterhorn was etched into history as a mountain of both glory and grief. The Matterhorn dominates the skyline between Switzerland and Italy, rising 4,478 meters above sea level. Its perfect pyramid shape makes it one of the most iconic mountains in the world. Behind that beauty lies a darker reality. This mountain is deadly. More than 500 climbers have lost their lives here. Many of them experienced alpinists who underestimated its hidden dangers. The risks come from the mountain itself. The Matterhorn's rock is brittle, cracked by centuries of freeze and thaw. In summer, when the permafrost softens, massive boulders can break free without warning, hurtling down toward climbers far below. Entire sections of rock faces have been known to collapse, reshaping routes and leaving climbers stranded. Rescue operations here are frequent, and each year helicopters are called in to recover those who miscalculated the climb. Yet the Matterhorn continues to draw people in. Climbers come chasing the thrill of its height, the breathtaking views from its ridges, and the challenge of standing on snow that crowns one of the world's most iconic peaks. The Atacama Desert in northern Chile is often called the driest place on Earth. Some weather stations here have never recorded a single drop of rain, and certain valleys went 400 years without measurable rainfall. This extreme dryness makes it one of the deadliest landscapes on the planet, a place where even bacteria struggle to survive. That's why NASA tested its Mars rovers here. The Atacama is Earth's closest match to Mars. A place so dry, so harsh, that if a machine can survive its heat, dust, and lifeless soil, it just might survive on the red planet. But for humans, survival has never been easy. In 1913, an expedition searching for nitrate mines set out across the desert and never returned. Years later, their wagons were found abandoned. The Atacama holds copper, nitrate, and lithium, resources so valuable they once ignited the War of the Pacific in the late 1800s. Nations clashed, lives were lost, and borders were redrawn, all because of the wealth buried beneath this barren land. And yet, even in a place defined by scarcity and struggle, nature stages its own miracle. About once in a decade, rare rainfall awakens millions of dormant seeds. Within days, the desert floor transforms into a carpet of wildflowers. It's a fleeting reminder that even in Earth's harshest extremes, life finds a way to bloom. Cavacin, the village itself, carries a quiet story of resilience. Once a bustling settlement, much of its population gradually moved away during the 20th century, as families sought safer and more stable places to live, leaving behind homes carved into the cliffs that now stand as silent witnesses to the past. But Cavacin is not without danger. The soft, tough rock is fragile, constantly shaped and worn by wind and rain, and prone to sudden collapses. In the 1960s, large sections of the cliffs crumbled unexpectedly, destroying parts of the village and serving as a stark reminder of nature's unpredictable power. Every step along the cliffs demands caution, highlighting the delicate balance between human survival and the risks of living in such a rugged landscape. adventurers and explorers eager to witness the dramatic scenery firsthand. Hiking through twisting valleys, every turn reveals new formations, offering fresh perspectives on the landscape's raw beauty. Fraser Island, the world's largest sand island, is a place where breathtaking beauty and hidden danger exist side by side. This island is far more than just sand and trees. The rusted skeleton of the SS Maheno sits half buried in the sand, like a ghost frozen in time. But it wasn't always a forgotten wreck. Built in 1905 as a luxury liner, it later served as a hospital ship during World War I, carrying wounded soldiers across the seas. Then, in 1935, while being towed to Japan for scrap, a powerful cyclone snapped the tow lines and slammed it ashore. Ever since, the Maheno has endured. Battered by waves and storms, Fraser Island is full of wonders waiting to be explored. The crystal-clear freshwater lakes, like Lake Mackenzie, are made entirely from rainwater, their turquoise waters so bright and pure, it feels like stumbling into a hidden paradise. The island is also home to one of the highest densities of dingoes in Australia. These wild dogs roam freely across the sand and forests. Calm at first glance, but they are apex predators, and encounters can turn dangerous if rules aren't followed. Tourists can also go boating along the coastline, seeing the island from the water and taking in its stunning landscapes, wildlife, and hidden corners in a completely new way. Lovchen Serpentine Road is a test of nerves. Built in the late 19th century during the Austro-Hungarian era, this road was carved painstakingly through rugged terrain. The road boasts 16 sharp hairpin bends, each twist revealing sweeping views of the Bay of Kotor below. But those same bends are what have claimed lives over the decades. Countless accidents have occurred. Vehicles slipping on wet stone, larger trucks struggling on the inclines, and drivers underestimating just how precarious this route can be. A single misjudged turn here can be catastrophic. Fog and sudden storms are common in these mountains, reducing visibility to almost nothing. Tourists and adventurers alike are drawn to its dramatic beauty. Each bend offers a new vantage point and the sense of standing on the edge of something immense. Reaching the summit of Mount Lovchen after navigating these serpentine turns is more than a drive. It's a journey through history, a brush with danger, and a reminder that the road to beauty often comes with risk. Merapi means fire mountain, and for centuries it has shaped both the land and the lives of those around it. In 1930, Merapi erupted with terrifying force, sending glowing avalanches of rock and gas racing down its slopes. Over 1,300 people were killed. Villages buried and fields reduced to ash. Decades later, in 2010, the volcano erupted again, forcing more than 350,000 residents to flee. Pyroclastic flows tore down the mountainside faster than anyone could escape, claiming dozens of lives even with early warnings. Scientists keep a constant watch on Merapi. knowing that even a small tremor can escalate into a life-threatening eruption within hours. Merapi is not only a threat, but also a powerful force of creation. Its volcanic soil has nourished rice paddies and villages for centuries, making the surrounding region fertile yet paradoxically perilous. Hiking groups often gather at designated safe spots to watch Merapi from afar, feeling the heat radiate from its slopes and hearing deep rumbles echo across the valleys below. For the people who live nearby, life is far from simple. Every day carries the constant reminder that the volcano's next eruption could strike where survival is always uncertain. K2, the Savage Mountain, rises 8,611 meters above sea level, the second highest peak on Earth, and one of the deadliest. Its sheer faces, icy ridges, and unpredictable weather make it a mountain that even the most experienced climbers approach with both awe and fear. Back in 1978, a Polish team finally reached the summit after weeks of grueling effort. But the real danger came on the way down. Blinding storms and freezing winds trapped them on razor-thin ridges. Some didn't make it back. The mountain has claimed countless lives since. In 1986, 13 climbers perished in a single season. Avalanches, ice falls, and the unpredictable weather took them all. K2 doesn't care about skill or fame. It takes what it wants. The bottleneck, a narrow, heart-stopping passage just below K2's summit, lined with massive hanging ice towers, is where the mountain reveals its deadliest face. One misstep, one fracture in the ice, and years of preparation can vanish in an instant. In 2008, tragedy struck when a serac collapsed, wiping out the route and taking 11 climbers with it in a matter of seconds. Even in recent years, danger hasn't eased. In 2018 and 2019, climbers stranded near the summit faced deadly queues, trapped in the thin, oxygen-starved air. Every moment a brutal test between life and death. On K2, the margin for error is almost non-existent. Every year, adventurers test their skill and courage here, for the rare chance to stand on top of one of the world's most formidable peaks. The Falls were first brought to global attention in 1933 by American pilot Jimmy Angel, whose plane famously crashed on top of Ollantaytambo while searching for a gold ore bed. Miraculously, he and his crew survived. That crash became legend, and his name has been forever tied to the waterfall, drawing adventurers who want to see the route he once flew. Reaching Angel Falls is no small task. The waterfall lies deep in Canaima National Park, far from any major roads, accessible only by small plains and then by navigating winding rivers. And beyond its hazards, tourists keep coming to see Angel Falls, a site that stands as a testament to time and nature's force. For millennia, the water has carved the cliffs of Ollantaytambo into sheer vertical drops. They come for the thrill of adventure, the breathtaking spectacle, and the chance to witness one of the world's most extraordinary natural wonders up close. Historical records show that Popocatépetl is one of Mexico's most iconic volcanoes, has been active for over 23,000 years. Its name, from the Nahuatl language, means smoking mountain. It dominates the skyline of central Mexico, visible from Mexico City on clear days. Scientists estimate it produces small to moderate eruptions almost every year, with ash plumes, lava flows, and pyroclastic activity. Its unpredictability has made it one of the deadliest volcanoes in North America. Historical eruptions have had devastating consequences. In the 1920s, a major eruption forced thousands of nearby villagers to flee as lava and ash threatened their homes. In the 1990s, the volcano's activity increased significantly, with alert levels raised and constant monitoring implemented to prevent disaster. Between 1947 and 1949, violent eruptions buried homes under lava and ash, displacing families who lost everything. After decades of dormancy, 1994 brought renewed activity. Lava domes swelling, ash clouds darkening the sky, and thousands fleeing nearby villages. Popocatépetl doesn't just erupt lava. In 2000, heavy rains mixed with volcanic ash to create deadly lahars, rushing down slopes and destroying roads. Even as recently as 2019, explosions hurled molten rock hundreds of meters, keeping authorities on constant alert. Adventurers seek Popocatépetl for the thrill of standing near a living giant, feeling the mountain's raw power up close. Despite the danger, the chance to witness its eruptions and smoke-filled skies keeps people coming back. Victoria Falls is often called the smoke that thunders. The falls have a long and dramatic history. In 1855, explorer David Livingstone became the first European to see this natural wonder. He was so struck by its beauty that he named it after Queen Victoria, writing in his journal that no one could imagine its majesty without witnessing it in person. But for the indigenous people, this was already a sacred site. During the construction of the famous Victoria Falls Bridge, a worker fell into the gorge while laying steel beams, a stark reminder of the risks faced in building a crossing so close to such immense power. More recently, in 2009, a tour guide slipped near the edge while saving a tourist. He was swept away by the current, his act of bravery remembered as one of the fall's most haunting stories. In 1958, record floods swelled the Zambezi, shaking the ground and threatening nearby villages. Decades later, in 2019, nature struck in the opposite way. Drought drained the river so severely that parts of Victoria Falls ran dry, exposing bare rock where water once thundered. And yet, despite its extremes, floods, droughts, and the danger of its raging currents, travelers continue to travel here to witness one of Earth's greatest shows of water and rock, to feel the ground tremble underfoot, and to stand before a force of nature that is as deadly as it is breathtaking. Every second, 220,000 liters of water thunder over Hookah Falls, carving their way through the narrow Waikato River near Taupo. That's enough to fill an Olympic swimming pool in just 11 seconds, all funneling through a gorge barely 15 meters wide. The sheer power is impossible to ignore. Back in 1936, a workman was swept over while carrying out a simple task upstream, never to be seen again. Even in modern times, the river shows it hasn't lost its power. In 2001, a commercial jet boat hit a hidden rock near the falls, reminding everyone that nature here allows no mistakes. The water never stops moving, constantly carving and reshaping the volcanic rock. Hookah Falls is also steeped in history and culture. Its Maori name, Hookah, means foam, a perfect description of the frothy, roaring water that has defined these falls for centuries. Over a century ago, locals constructed simple viewing platforms so visitors could safely admire the spectacle, though these early structures were often swept away during floods. Today, modern boardwalks and reinforced viewing areas allow thousands of people each year to get close to the falls, feeling not just the stunning beauty, but the raw, unstoppable power of Hookah Falls. Perito Moreno Glacier is a giant of ice. It spans nearly 97 square miles, larger than the city of Paris. And its jagged front wall towers up to 240 feet above the turquoise waters of Lake Argentino. But what you see above the surface is only a fraction. Beneath the lake, another 550 feet of ice continues downward, making this one of the thickest ice masses in South America. Unlike most glaciers in the world that are retreating, Perito Moreno is advancing. It creeps forward at roughly 6 feet per day, constantly pushing and reshaping itself. And this unstoppable movement creates one of nature's most dangerous and dramatic spectacles. As it moves, Perito Moreno cuts off part of the lake, creating a natural ice dam. Water builds up for years, rising higher and higher until the pressure is unbearable. And then it happens, the rupture. A thunderous explosion as millions of gallons of water rip through the ice wall. Huge chunks, as big as buildings, are launched into the air. The sound echoes for miles, and waves powerful enough to sink boats race across the lake. These ruptures are rare but unpredictable. In 1988, one of them turned deadly when tourists standing too close were hit by collapsing ice and swept away. And even when there isn't a rupture, the danger is constant. Towering blocks of ice break off the glacier's face without warning. Else, people are drawn here not just to see the glacier, but to experience it. They want to hear the cracks echo across the lake, to feel the ground shake when a block of ice crashes down. Some even take boats right up to the face of the glacier, knowing full well that a collapse could happen at any moment. The Bermuda Triangle has fascinated and terrified people for decades, also called the Devil's Triangle. This region has been linked to the mysterious disappearance of ships and planes, giving it a reputation as one of the deadliest zones on Earth. Historical records show that the mystery isn't new. In 1918, the USS Cyclops, a massive Navy cargo ship carrying over 300 men, vanished without a trace somewhere in this stretch of ocean. No distress signal, no wreckage, just gone. Then there's Flight 19 in 1945, a squadron of 5 Navy bombers on a routine training flight. They radioed that their compasses were malfunctioning, and one by one, the planes disappeared into the vast Atlantic. Rescue teams sent to find them also vanished. These incidents cemented the triangle's eerie reputation. Scientists and historians have explored countless theories. Some point to violent weather, sudden storms, waterspouts, and hurricanes that can appear without warning in the region. Others highlight unusual magnetic anomalies that can disrupt navigation instruments. Methane hydrate eruptions from the ocean floor are also considered capable of creating sudden, dense bubbles that sink ships almost instantly. Some theories remain unproven, but the pattern of disappearances continues to haunt the triangle. Despite its fearsome reputation, the Bermuda Triangle is still crossed by thousands of ships and planes every year. People are drawn here by trade, travel, and curiosity, all while knowing that the ocean can be unpredictable and unforgiving. Japan's tallest peak, Mount Fuji, rises up to 3,776 meters. An active stratovolcano, Fuji last erupted in 1707 during the Hoei eruption. That eruption was so powerful, it caused the ash to fall as far away, blanketing nearby villages and reshaping the surrounding landscape. Mount Fuji's beauty is deceptive. Sudden storms, dense fog, and freezing temperatures at higher altitudes have claimed many lives. In 1966, a climbing party was caught in a violent typhoon near the summit. Several suffered severe frostbite, and one died despite rescue efforts. Just a year earlier, in 1965, another group faced heavy snowfall unexpectedly, forcing an emergency evacuation and highlighting how unpredictable the mountain's weather can be. Loose volcanic gravel, steep slopes, and hidden crevices make every step treacherous, even for seasoned climbers. Mount Fuji has left an indelible mark on Japanese culture and history. From its slopes, climbers can see the serene waters of the Fuji 5 lakes, their surfaces reflecting the snow-capped peak. The sprawling cities below stretch toward the horizon, offering a striking contrast to the mountain's timeless natural presence. These views make it clear why Fuji is more than just a climb. Mono Lake in North America is estimated to be more than 1 million years old. This lake can be perilous. Its highly saline waters are undrinkable, and the surrounding desert is harsh. In the early 20th century, settlers and travelers unfamiliar with the terrain often became disoriented in the vast desert. Many suffered severe dehydration, exhaustion, and some never made it out. Their bodies lost to the harsh, arid surroundings. Mono Lake is world famous for its tufa towers. In the mid-20th century, as water levels dropped naturally and due to local diversions, many tufa towers became exposed for the first time in centuries. Early explorers and visitors were awed by these strange, skeletal structures, but the exposed ground was unstable. A few travelers slipped into the shallow, suffering burns and injuries. The tufa towers are more than just geological wonders. They are living records of Mono Lake's shifting environment. Each spire tells a story of the delicate interplay between water, chemistry, and time. People still come from far and wide to witness their eerie beauty, but even today, getting too close to the tallest towers requires caution. Every second, over 2.8 million litres of water crash over Niagara Falls, creating a force capable of sweeping away anything in its path. Located on the border of the United States and Canada, it stands as one of the most powerful waterfalls in the world. In 1827, a daring tightrope walker tried to cross the Niagara Gorge. As he balanced on the rope, a sudden gust of wind threw him off, and he plunged into the raging waters below, never to be seen again. In 1901, a stuntman went over Niagara Falls in a barrel, but it struck jagged rocks during the plunge, and he was killed instantly. By the late 19th century, engineers tapped Niagara Falls for hydroelectric power, supplying electricity to cities throughout the region. Geologists have tracked its constant erosion, noting that the falls gradually recede about 1 foot each year, reshaping the landscape over time. Even today, despite modern safety measures, Niagara Falls demands respect. Sudden gusts of wind and slick, wet rocks can still catch visitors off guard, making caution essential. Yet people continue to come, whether riding boats or walking, exploring the trails nearby. For decades, people looked at Yosemite's Half Dome and thought it was unclimbable. That belief was shattered in 1875 by George Anderson, a Scottish blacksmith. With little more than iron bolts and raw determination, he drilled his way upward, inch by inch. After days of grueling effort, he stood on the summit, the first human to do so. But his success proved Half Dome could be conquered. By the mid-20th century, Half Dome had become a proving ground for human endurance. Its northwest face, a wall of granite so steep it was long believed untouchable, was finally scaled in 1957, shattering the myth of the impossible. But Half Dome has always carried a cost. More than 60 lives have been lost here. Rain turns the granite into ice, winds sweep across the dome without warning, and lightning storms transform its summit into a deadly trap. In 1985, 5 hikers were killed instantly when lightning struck near the top, one of the deadliest incidents in Yosemite's history. Even after all these tragedies, many still see Half Dome as more than just a climb. For them, reaching the summit is a chance to stand where few ever will. Mount Denali rises 6,190 meters above Alaska, its peaks piercing the sky. Temperatures plunge below -40 degrees Celsius, and sudden storms can sweep across its slopes. In 1913, Hudson Stuck and his team became the first to reach the summit. Battling exhaustion, altitude sickness, and the cold. Even today, climbers face avalanches, rockfalls and blizzards that can trap them for days. In 1967, a climber vanished into a concealed crevasse. And in 2013, a team struggled against a ferocious storm near the upper slopes, barely making it down alive. Below the mountain, the Chulitna River flows with relentless energy, fed by the melting Kahiltna Glacier. Its waters carry chunks of ice, thick silt, and debris, turning the river into a raging torrent during the summer melt. Back in 1997, a group of kayakers misjudged its power near the glacier's edge and were nearly swept away. To stand here is to feel it all. The glaciers crunching beneath your feet, the river roaring far below, and the wind. On the island of Sicily, there's a giant that never sleeps. Mount Etna towers over everything here, more than 3,300 meters high. Its snowy peak often crowned with smoke. For the people who live around it, Etna isn't just a mountain. It's a neighbor they've grown up with, a force that gives and takes. Scientists estimate that Etna erupts nearly every year. Sometimes a quiet puff of steam, other times violent enough to reshape the land. That's because this volcano has been active for nearly 500,000 years. The earliest records of its eruptions date back to 1500 BC, making it one of the most documented volcanoes in the world. Generations after generations have lived with it, always aware that at any moment the mountain could wake up, and when it does, the results can be devastating. The eruption of 1669 was one of the worst in European history. Imagine rivers of molten rock swallowing entire villages, at least 10 of them, before surging into the city of Catania. Around 20,000 people lost their lives, and the lava was so powerful it actually extended Sicily's coastline by more than half a mile. Centuries later, in 2002, a sudden explosion hurled molten rock toward a group of tourists. What makes Etna so unpredictable is its complexity. It doesn't have just one crater, but 4 at the summit, each capable of erupting on its own or together. One day you might see glowing fountains of lava lighting up the night sky, and the next, violent blasts known as paroxysms that can launch volcanic bombs, some weighing several tons, miles away. Even the ash is a hazard. And still, people can't resist coming to Etna. They walk across rock that was once a river of fire, peer into craters that puff smoke into the sky, and feel the ground shake softly under their feet. It's scary but unforgettable, because here you don't just watch nature, you feel its power up close.